Good morning, everybody. Hope you're staying warm this very cold, very cold morning. Very, very cold. I had to go out this morning and try to scrape ice off my car. I needed a chisel. All right. Last class I had to duck out on you, and I do apologize for that. But I want to go through some points of soil and do a slight um, lab of sorts with you. All right, so I'll give it a few more minutes to see how many more people are coming. But in that time, hopefully you have looked over the unit on soil. Um, and then there was a worksheet that goes with it. So there's a discussion here about the layers. Um, Anybody could tell me what kind of soil you have mostly in Georgia? There's different types of clay. I'm sorry, different types of soil. I think I just said it. All right, as you go through this one, uh, this did not work so because this didn't work that well. Okay, Justin, I get you. Because this one didn't work that well, that was the reason for the worksheet. So we're going to didn't work at all. Not that well, didn't work at all. So this is the reason for the worksheet. So hopefully you got a chance to watch the two videos that I put in the playlist. But I am going to go through parts of this to point out some things that'll help you answer the questions. While it gave general information, it also was, I think, geared to whoever made this worksheet was from Michigan. So the specific information here is on Michigan soils. Anybody tell me what kind of soil we mostly have in Georgia? Well, you hear it all the time. You go out there, you get dirty, and what color are you? Anybody know? Anybody? Anybody? While we're waiting, I'm gonna give it another few minutes for folks to come in. Nobody knows what kind of clay we have? I'm sorry, I keep saying it. It's red Georgia clay. It's an expression, red Georgia clay. That's what we have. We have a red Georgia clay. And knowing what kind of soil you have will determine what kind of crops you can plant. All right, so as you read through this, so in Canvas, they also had a description of all the layers of the soil. So you do need to know the soil profile. Trying to admit Isabella, and she won't admit. There you are. Okay. All right, so make sure that you know the soil profile, and it goes from the bottom up, even though it's the letters start from the top, go down. It really, as far as formation is concerned, goes from the bottom up. Okay, so make sure you know those. All right. Part of the question I wanted to point out that you needed to read this little graph here that talks about what the composition of most soils is. And so it's mostly minerals. It's got some solids in it. Yes, Isabel, you're not late. I saw you. I've been admitting you, and it wouldn't admit. It's been trying to admit you for a while. So I'm glad you kept at it. I saw you. You're welcome. All righty. All right. So, and again, so this no, look at this graph as you're. Um, Now, our soil is not necessarily set up like this, but good soil composition will be set up like this. So depending on whether it's an even distribution such as this will determine whether you can plant certain crops. Certain crops need more minerals, certain crops need more organic materials, that sort of thing. So you do need to know what kind of soil you are, what kind of soil you have. Um, these are the different ways that we can save the soil so that it's not, so that erosion, so we're trying to prevent it from erosion. Let me go back up here to the top. All right. Uh, Soil is a mixture of weathered, it's a weathering, and there's two types of weathering. It's mechanical weathering and chemical weathering. And mechanical means that something is physically breaking apart. Chemical weathering is there are certain chemicals that get in and dissolve the rocks and break it apart. Okay. And then they give you a list of things here. So make sure you read this through good before you try to answer the questions. Okay. All right. Those are the types. All right. I think that we have a good number of people here, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Again, hopefully you got a chance to watch the other videos. Um, we're going to watch a different one today. Well, you don't get to do labs very much, so the one that I put in today is can be considered kind of a lab type video where he's going to demonstrate how to analyze your
Today,
soil.
I'll show you a very simple way to figure out how much sand, silt, and clay you have in your garden. I'll then show you how to use the soil texture triangle to figure out the type of soil you have.
All right. Now, you do have to become familiar with the soil texture triangle. So when he gets to it, I will probably pause it again. Let me take a minute, let somebody else in. All righty. All right. So again, this is mostly a kind of a lab type thing. He's going to take a sample of soil and he's going to then show you how to test it and how to determine what kind of soil you have, and then compare that to the pyramid. All right, anybody else coming in? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and let them keep going.
This information can be very useful when you're trying to select plants for your garden, or if you're trying to figure out why certain plants aren't growing well. It also helps you figure out the right amount of fertilizer and water you need to add to your garden. For this test, you will need to get some soil from your garden. It is best to collect a shovelful of soil from several different spots and then mix it. This will give you an average soil sample for the whole garden. You will also need a clear container, and an old jar works well. Try to get one with vertical sides and a flat bottom. I'm going to use an old peanut butter jar. You will also need some tap water. Let's get started. Check the soil and remove any stones, plant roots, and earthworms. They can be returned back to the garden. If you have hard lumps of soil, it is a good idea to break them up. It will make mixing much easier.
All right, why do we want to return the earthworms back to the garden? We don't just want to kill them and throw them away. Why do we need earthworms in the garden? Anybody know? Somebody type it in the chat. Why returning the earthworms back to the garden is a good thing? Wake up, everybody. Somebody. You know why we want the earthworms back in the garden? You said, what was the answer? Nobody answered it yet. I'm asking a question. He said, go through the and take out the large things, and if it's some earthworms in there, you want to put them back in your garden. We don't need them as part of the experiment. Yes, it makes good soil, but what do they do for the soil? Do you know? They help break it down. Yeah. How do they do that? Anybody know how earthworms make their way through the soil? They eat. Yes, they do. Thank you, Anthony. All right. So Anthony said they break down the soil by they kind of eat their way through. And so as they go through, they create tunnels and pockets where the water can get through. And as they eat their way through and then they poop it back out, that adds nutrients to the soil. So they help break it up. All right. Yes, the rain helps, but the rain is going to be able to get in those spaces where the worms are burrowing through. So as they burrow through, they leave tunnels or passageways so that the rainwater can get to places where they might not have gotten to because the soil was so packed together. So earthworms are important, important. All right, thank y'all.
Take the soil and add it to the jar so that it is about 3/4 full. Now add water to almost fill the jar. You want to leave some air space at the top of the jar for mixing. Place the lid on the jar and then shake. You want to mix it well so that all of the soil is broken up into individual particles. Turn the jar over and make sure all of the soil is freed from the bottom. You can also use a stir stick or spoon and really give it a good mix. Let the jar sit for 1 minute. Since sand is heavier than silt and clay, it settles in less than a minute. The sand has now settled to the bottom of the jar. Take a marker and draw a line at the top of the sand layer. Wait 1 hour. Silt is heavier than clay and will settle next. Draw a line at the top of the silt layer. Wait 24 hours for the clay to settle. Since clay is made up of very fine particles, it takes a long time to settle. Now draw a line at the top of the clay layer. Ignore any floating organic matter, like bits of leaves or stems. I've emptied the jar and can now see the marks very clearly. Take a ruler and measure the distance between the marks. Working in millimeters will make the math easier than using inches. Measure the distance from the bottom of the jar to the first line. The sand layer is 30 millimeters. Next, measure the distance between the first and the second mark. The silt layer is 22. Last, measure the distance between the second and third marks. The clay layer is 25. The soil texture, by definition, consists of sand, silt, and clay, and those 3 parts added together make up 100%. In our experiment, we measured the amounts using millimeters, but the units don't really matter since we will be converting them to a percent. Sand had a value of 30, silt was 22, and clay was 25, with a total of 77. To convert these numbers to percent, we do the following calculation. Percent sand is equal to 30 divided by 77 times 100, or 39%. Percent silt is equal to 22 divided by 77 times 100, which is 29%. I'm rounding to whole numbers, which is accurate enough for gardening. Percent clay is 25 divided by 77, or 32%. You can see that the sum of the three values equals 100%. These numbers tell you how much sand, silt, and clay you have, but we can take this one step further and figure out the type of soil you have. To do that, we need to have a look at the soil texture triangle as pictured here. This might look complicated, but it is actually easy to use. Since the total of sand, silt, and clay equals 100%, we only need to use two of these values, and I'll use silt and clay for my demonstration. On the left side of the triangle, you can see the percent clay value, going from 0% at the bottom to 100% at the top. Our soil sample had 32% clay, and I've indicated that with the blue arrow. We then need to draw a line from that point over to the silt side of the triangle, the right-hand side, following the horizontal line in the triangle. Next, we find our silt value, 29% on the right side of the triangle, as indicated with the red arrow. We then draw a line from this point to the sand side of the triangle, the bottom of the triangle. Again, following the lines of the triangle. The point at which the red and blue lines cross is our soil type. I've added a black arrow to show that point. To simplify the display, I will now remove the blue and red marks. You can see that the soil we have is called clay loam, which is a very good soil. Anything in the center of the triangle is good gardening soil. If your soil is near one of the corners or along the side of the triangle, it means your soil does not have enough sand or silt or clay. You will have to work a bit harder to grow things. I'll discuss ways to improve your soil in a future video, but any type of soil will benefit from the addition of moderate amounts of organic material, like compost or manure. Organic matter will loosen up clay soil and add more oxygen. In sandy soil, it adds more nutrients and helps to hold water in the soil. Thank you for watching. If you want to watch more great videos about...
Okay, he's just going to advertise for the rest of it, so we'll not watch that part. All right, so I'm going to give you time to, because most of you still need to finish up that worksheet. If you did not watch all of the videos that were left on the other day, in particular, watch this one for desertification. You do need to know what is desertification, because that's important. That's what happens when erosion takes place. So the topsoil, everything that dies is going to land on the top of the soil. And because it's dying and it's got all the nutrients from that material, that's what we call organic rich soil. So organic soil is a place where a lot of things, where you might have a lot of leaf debris and animal debris and things of that nature, and they add to the richness of the soil on the top. Okay, and then as it rains, those nutrients can get further down in the soil. But if we have weather like today, it is extremely windy, so we can have erosion. Now, erosion again can be mechanical, where the wind just carries it away. If it rains very hard, it can wash the topsoil away. Various other climate conditions will cause like drought is one of those where it's just dry. So think of desert ways, not so much that it's just dry to begin with, but the fact that so much of the good soil is left, that the soil that's left is no good for crops. Remember, our whole point of this is do we have good land for growing crops because we want to feed the people in the area, and we can't feed them if the soil is bad, okay? Which is the issue that we have in many of the countries that are underdeveloped is they don't have good cropland. So things need to go in to make the cropland better. All right, so like I said, go through, make sure that you've completed this. We have completed this unit. So make sure that you've got all your activities for this unit done. Wednesday, we'll do a short review of everything in the module. Um, let me come back here. All right. So we are looking at human impact of land and land resources. So we want to go through how land pollution, we talked about landfills, we talked about deforestation, agriculture and agricultural practices, sustainable agriculture, um, and soil erosion. So make sure that you go through, if you finished all of your worksheets, make sure you go through and do that. So on Wednesday, we'll review this, and Thursday, right? Thursday, we will test the unit, okay? So again, if you have completed all of your worksheets, go back and look at all of the topics. And I always say, best way to review something is to look at the vocabulary, okay? So there's 3 major sections to this. You can work on them right now. Yes, indeed, right now. I'm going to stop talking and let you finish up anything that you have not finished up in terms of this unit. So again, finish the unit, review the unit on Wednesday, test the unit on Thursday. If tutoring is starting back, I'm available again tomorrow afternoon from 1:30, 1:35 to 2:35, and on Friday. So Tuesdays and Fridays, tutoring if you need it. If you have questions about what you need to catch up on, how to do that, please come to tutoring. You don't have to go through for some reason that sign up thing, it doesn't work very well. So just show up. Just let me know that you're coming. I'll be there, and just log into the Zoom as always. Question number 9. Let me do it this way. It's faster. Oh, it'd be faster if I just look at. Okay. Uh, okay, so someone is asking about question number 9, which is this one. All right. So what you have in each of these pictures is the presence or absence. So picture number 1 looks like it has all 3 profiles. Picture number 2 has an abundance of 2 of them, and picture number 3 has just 1. So if you had to compare that to this one, is it going to be A, profile A, B, or C? That's what you, um, mm, again, you're going to write the letter of the matching profile in the space provided. Same thing with these up here. While they've called it profile A, B, and C, they want you to actually say which one is first, second. I can play that rainforest. So I'll play that because I don't think you can play it. So let me play that one for you. I put that there just mostly for me so that I would know that that's the video I showed. I don't think you can do that. So, Sophia, did that help? Good. Okay. Um, or maybe you can, because that's not the link I put in there. All right, so then it should be in your playlist. Uh, this one. Okay. All right, so Chance, the worksheet right after soil lesson, the next, if you're in the module, the next page is where the worksheet is. All right, Chance, this is the rainforest video that you want to watch to answer that one. Okay, so it's in your playlist. And I believe that if it's in your playlist, you can answer, you can play it. All right, so that assignment requires that you watch the video, rainforest video notes. Want you to watch that video and jot down two reasons why the rainforest is important and 3 reasons why deforestation is harmful. So that's 5 points altogether, 2 points apiece. Okay, so that video is in the playlist. Oh, actually, let me see if I can't. I'm going to edit this so that it says from the playlist. All right, Chance, you good on the video? Okay, good. All right, I'm going to stop sharing, let you all get to what you need to get to. All right, again, for the benefit of the person who just came in, wake up, Max. You are completing any worksheet that you have not completed. We're finishing up this unit on land, human impact on land. We're reviewing it on Wednesday and testing on Thursday. All right, and please, progress reports go out next week, so please make sure that you use this time to catch up. It's my favorite saying for the year is use class time to do class work. If you bothered to log in, please use the time given to you to get your work done. All right, for the worksheet, you're going to read through the article at the top, and then you're going to answer the questions that follow. Make sure you're studying the graph and all the charts that are as part of the reading, because they ask you questions from that. And quite a few of you have the rainforest deforestation video to watch. Remember, I'm replacing that activity because the Nearpod one was a disaster. As far as people trying to go in afterwards and get the scores. So please make sure that you do the video. In fact, I can show it in class if necessary, if that would be easier. Because quite a few of you need to watch that video and jot down your facts. All right, let me go ahead and do that because it doesn't take long. It's not a very long video. All right, so like I said, it's not a very long video, so you gotta listen good, listen fast to get 5 facts down. You need 2 facts about what's good and 3 facts about what's bad about the rainforest. Okay. Why do we need the rainforest, and why is it a bad thing that we're chopping it down?
Shrouded in a blanket of clouds, they awaken. Their canopies of green glitter in the sun. Their wildlife start to slither, chirp, and growl. And one of the planet's richest ecosystems comes to life. Rainforests are the oldest living ecosystems on the planet. Some can trace their origins to over 70 million years ago, back to a time when dinosaurs still roamed the Earth. While the giant reptiles have disappeared, rainforests continue to thrive, growing on every continent except Antarctica. 2 types of rainforests are scattered across the globe: temperate and tropical. Temperate rainforests are mainly found in the mid-latitudes, often near cooler, coastal, mountainous regions. Tropical rainforests are primarily located in warmer climates, between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. As their names imply, temperate and tropical rainforests are the wettest forests on Earth, receiving up to about 33 feet of rain per year. This precipitation plays a critical role in creating an exceptionally lush and biologically diverse habitat. While rainforests only make up about 6% of the Earth's surface area, they are home to over half of the world's plant and animal species. This biodiversity creates benefits that extend far beyond the rainforest boundaries. Rainforest plants produce an assortment of food items, in addition to ingredients useful in everyday products and
That's your two things right there.
medicines. In fact, an estimated 70% of the plants used in cancer treatments are only found in rainforests. On an even larger scale, rainforests help to stabilize the planet's climate. Its lush green vegetation regulate global temperatures by absorbing massive amounts of radiation from the sun. They also absorb vast amounts of carbon dioxide and convert them into oxygen, about 40% of the planet's breathable air. Over the past few centuries, rainforests have disappeared at an alarming rate. Factors such as economic inequalities, human development, and demand for natural resources have fueled the deforestation of these rich ecosystems. At the current rate, rainforests, which have survived for over 70 million years, may completely disappear within the next century. But through educational campaigns, sustainable logging practices, and cooperation with local communities, deforestation may begin to slow down, helping preserve rainforests for many generations to come.
All right, so as far as the three things that are bad, think of the things that we need the rainforest for and what happens when we cut them all down. Okay, so look at it from that point of view. If the rainforest is not there, what happens? All right, when you're doing the worksheet, um, being as question 8 and 9 kind of go together, so people who are getting 8 wrong, sorry, um, yeah, people who are getting number 7 and 8 are getting 9 wrong. So you need to make sure that you study that carefully. Um, with 7, look at how many lines are extending from the bracket. So the first one, profile A, you only have 2 lines extending from the bracket. Profile B, you have 4 lines extending from the bracket, and profile C, you have 3. So make sure that you're labeling those accordingly, and then if you label those accordingly, you should be able to answer 8 and 9 correctly as well. So those 3 go together. So read those carefully. Look at the original picture on the first page. Why isn't there a number there? Oh. Okay, folks, if you're in a good place to stop, go ahead and do so. Time's almost up. All right, remember that we are finishing up this unit. Wednesday, we're doing a review. Thursday, we are testing the unit on land and the human effect on it. And again, if you have any questions, um, okay. If you have any questions, tomorrow's tutorial time, feel free to just pop in.